Hey there, everybody. Let's give us a minute to make sure that I am on. Janice Whiting here. I am coach number 33, and I thought I would pop in to reveal our journey sketch number 4. So if you guys haven't been following along and you're new to Fun Stampers Journey, you might not know that Kazan Clark and I started a sketch challenge page just for focusing on our awesome Fun Stampers Journey products. And so this is week 4, and I say this, technically we start tomorrow on Monday, but I thought I would go ahead and pop in here. Sunday afternoons are just really great for me to pop in and reveal the new sketch, and so I am going to go ahead and do that. I want to make sure that I am showing up properly on this Coach Connection page, and so I'm going to scroll down. There I am. Okay, great. I think I've figured out the camera thing. Hi, ladies. Thanks so much for popping in. I think I've figured out the wide angle deal of the Facebook Live, finally. It only took me a few times, but I've done it. So here I am. I'm going to go ahead and reveal the sketch for this coming week, and then show you a little bit of how how I created my card. So I also should say that this is completely not this is not an FSJ company thing. Hi, Yvette. This is totally just Kazan Clark and I wanting to create the page because I know a lot of us have been feeling the need for inspiration. And can I just say that everyone who's participated so far has brought so much inspiration to me personally, and I know to lots of others. So if you've been one of the many that have participated, thank you so much. I'm so excited thinking about all of the awesome creations that we are going to get to kind of have in our files, so to speak. Whenever we need a little pick-me-up, you can always just go back to those previous sketches and look through all of your amazing creations. I love it. So I'm really excited about that. Okay, so hi, Lisa, watching at work on Sunday. Oh, well. Okay, so Journey Sketch 4. So I've learned a little bit. My sketches are always on my phone, and then unless I draw them out for you, I have no way to show you. So I have a copier printer in my house, and I literally took my phone and I copied it. So this is our Journey Sketch 4 for this week. So a little bit more simple than my last sketch, which had a diagonal element to it. This one I hope will be a little bit easier for everyone to follow. So there's that. And the card I created was inspired by a very good friend of mine who has a birthday coming up, and I will not mention any names, but they know who they are. And so here is the card that I created for this very special person, and I'm wondering if that's showing backwards on the screen. It probably is, but that's okay. It says happy birthday. Yep, it's backwards. That's okay. You can read backwards, I'm sure. Happy birthday. So again, here's the sketch. Okay, can you kind of see it? Yeah, it's okay. I'm sure there's a way to flip it, but I don't want to flip it and then you see my other stuff. So, so there it is. Thank you, Shannon. Okay, so here's the sketch. Can you see what I've done here? So we've got the square. It's a square card. So before we've had no specific recommendations on the sketch. This one, make sure you make a square card. And then we have the first square mat. Thank you, guys. And then we have this circle kind of in the back, and then another kind of round something, although mine was flowers, so it wasn't necessarily round, but it took up that space. So there it is, sketch 4. Here's my take on sketch 4. So I have been wanting to use our embroidered stitches stamp set for such a long time, but I have a major confession. To be quite honest, they scared me. Like, they totally scared me. I don't know why, but I was very intimidated to create with the stamp sets, or any of the stamp sets, actually, to be honest, that were the embroidered or in our, why am I losing it? Our, I guess the romance, is it the romance collection? Oh, y'all correct me. Any of these, for whatever reason, I just, I don't know. I loved them. I think they are gorgeous, but I was completely intimidated to, yes, the koi fish one is so gorgeous. Hi, Angela. Glad to hear that you're loving the sketches. But anyway, I was like, you know what? I was inspired by, gosh, was it Shannon? Was it your Try Day Friday? I think. Maybe inspired in a different way, I guess. I definitely want to make a shaker card because I love them. They're my all-time favorite cards. But I was inspired by the whole try aspect of something that you're maybe afraid of. And so I was a little afraid of any of these, all of these, honestly, stamps. Because for whatever reason, I just couldn't, I don't know. I couldn't picture one coming together, even though I loved these. Anyway. Bottom line is I conquered my fear. I busted them out. I was trying to think of a way to make them look, I don't know. I really wanted the embroidered look to kind of show through, and I think it did. So I'm excited about that. I'm wondering if I can cover this and you can see I did use some clear embossing powder. I wanted to keep the, you know how when something's embroidered, a lot of times it has that sheen. Hi, Leanne. Thank you. Yay, good. I'm glad you like the sketch. Anyway, I wanted to keep that sheen, and so I embossed it, clear embossed it. So I'm going to go ahead and break down this card. I have most of the pieces already cut out, and all I'm going to do is walk you through it. And then I will talk you through a few of the elements that I used, and hopefully you will be inspired to go and create your own based on sketch number 4, okay? All right, so I'm going to flip my camera down. I have, I think this is going to work because I've fixed it just so. And let's see if I can make it. There we go. And yay! I think we have made that the way it's supposed to be. Yay! I turn it so that it's not upside down on you. There we go. Yay! All right. All right, here we go. It looks like there might be a little bit of buffering. Okay, good. All right, so here's the card. All right, it's our original card, and then again, bring back the sketch. So the sketch that I followed. So again, it's a square card. Now my card, I started off with a 5x5 square base. And so just a regular card fold. Granted, I always do tent folds. You can do whatever folds you want. You guys are so creative. I love this, but you can do a side, fold wherever you'd like. So we're going to start with that. Now, this is where I have to confess a little bit. So you see these gold stripes here. So this is actually using some of our retired gold striped vellum paper, which please bring back FSJ. I love their stuff. But I realized that we do not carry this anymore. So I looked in our catalog and we have a stamp set that is perfect for this. And so if I didn't have this paper and I had the stamp set, I would have used the stamp set and I would have embossed it in gold. So it is a background stamp set, and I just wanted to pop it out real quick and show you what it looks like. I had it and then I lost it and then I had it again. Here it is. So let's see if I can bring this in here. So if you have striped wall, this stamp set, this background stamp set, then this is perfect for getting the stripes in the background. And you don't have to worry about, adhering the vellum or anything. Now, I would have used this either with our gold ink, or I could have used our gold embossing powder and our clear pigment ink on that. So there you go. There's a substitution, because chances are you don't have this. We had this a little while ago. I'm trying to remember it, maybe 2 years ago. I don't remember. It was in one of our catalogs. It might have been our last catalog. Y'all probably remember more than me. Anyway, but I am going to adhere it to the front of this panel. And I'm just going to put a little bit along the gold stripes. Obviously, you guys know that our craft glue dries clear, so it is easy peasy. It'll dry nice and smooth over there, or over it, rather. Also, if you have this, again, if you don't, the striped wall is exactly what you're looking for. But if you have this, when you cut it, make sure you cut it so that there's gold at the top and gold at the bottom. Okay, that's kind of part of the design. I tried it with just cutting it straight as it came from the pack, and it had like a white strip on the top and the bottom, which is fine. It looks fine, but it didn't quite give me the look I was looking for. So, okay, so now I've got that adhered. If you don't have this, you would, like I said, ink it up in our gold ink and just use that background stamp on that. So that's the first panel. From here, I think I just kind of set everything aside and I started creating all of my different elements that I put on the card. And so once again, I used this embroidered rose stamp set. Love it. Gorgeous. I literally bought all of these stitched or embroidered stamps, and again, so intimidated by them that this is my first time using them, but like I said, I conquered my fear and I just went for it. And so here's what I did. I'm going to take you through the steps of how I created these. I'm just going to do one because I will be honest with you, it is quite a lengthy process. I say lengthy, time consuming, I guess. I mean, I guess it just depends on how quick that there's just a lot of steps. I guess I'll just leave it at that. So I'm going to get a scrap of some whipped cream, and I guess I'll start with, I'm going to do my medium rose. Now I have already done these, but I just want to take you through the steps. Now for this particular technique, because I'm going to be stamping and inking multiple times, I'm going to go ahead and bring out my stamping tool. Now I know we don't sell these and I feel like I use this on every video, but you know what? It's so handy. And when we get our own, I will be the #1 fan of our whatever stamping tool we end up getting someday. Okay, so I'm just going to ink this up. Now, the colors that I use to create these flowers here, I used Sweet Berry because the color scheme that I was going for, believe it or not, was I wanted kind of a pink and gold look. Now, I realize that is not pink. It's not like a light pink, but you know, it's kind of on the pinky side. And so Sweet Berry is what I chose. Now, the deal is that we've got the pink and we've also got the green. And so really what I did was I just took some of my, some old washi tape. I'm sure we do this all the time. And mask off the parts that you're not going to want pink. So nothing new necessarily, not a new technique, but one that is helpful. And so just mask off the part that you don't want to receive any of that pink or Sweet Berry ink. And then just go to town. Now I did this, I stamped it twice because after our first stamp, I didn't quite feel like it had that oomph that I wanted. Now I'm going to very gently and carefully pick this up, but I want to keep it intact, so I'm going to put it back on there because I'm going to stamp it twice. That's what I mean about it kind of being, it's just a little bit more involved. So we're going to stamp that. Okay, that's one. And then I'm going to bring back my mask. I can get it right where it was before. I'm not going to be too worried about it, but just all it's doing is just holding, keeping my green area from getting pink on it. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and take that part off again and stamp it a second time. Now I have found that stamping it a second time is pretty much, oh, gorgeous. It's like all I need. You know, I don't want too much or too little. So we're going to leave it like that. Now I'm going to do next is I'm going to clean off the pink, the Sweet Berry. Just taking a wipey and wiping it off because now I'm going to add the green part. So I'm not moving this and I'm not moving anything away from my stamping tool. I'm going to dry that off a little bit. Okay, and now I'm going to take a little bit more of my generic washi and I am going to cover up the pink. I know that we all have tons of rolls of washi that we got for like $1 at Scrapbook Expo, or we got on sale at Michael's. Oh, is that a forbidden word to say? A long time ago, I mean, way before I started FSJ. Okay, and the green that I used was Kiwi Slice. I really like this one. It's a nice, beautiful, what I kind of consider kind of like a nice pine color. I guess whoever labeled it thought it looked like a kiwi color. I don't know if kiwi is that dark of a green, but we're going to go with it. All right, so I'm going to carefully move this because I am going to stamp it twice. There's one. And one more time again, carefully putting it over and inking it up one more time. I think one time I did this and I didn't quite cover it all up perfectly. I ended up getting some gray on my pink, and you know what? That's okay too. All right, so we're good. I like this. I like that, and so I'm going to leave it like that. Now, so if you've noticed, I've stamped 4 times, so twice on each color. And now I'm going to stamp it 2 more times, but this time I'm going to use our clear pigment ink because I wanted to, you know, give it that little bit of a shine. So the wonderful thing about this is I don't need any tape, just to make sure any fuzz is off of that. And I am going to ink this up once and then twice. So there's 1 time there. I realized that I needed to do it twice with this one because the lines are so fine, it wasn't always picking up on just the first go round, all of the nice little details. Okay, so technically I have stamped this 6 times, but you know, it's worth it because it's really, really pretty. So I'm going to move this over, and I'm going to bring over my media tray and my clear embossing powder. So my clear embossing powder. I am going to put my powder all over this beauty, and then we're going to hit it with our heating gun. And you'll notice that it's just going to give that nice, beautiful sheen as it normally does with the heating gun and your clear embossing powder. And you're going to have to forgive the noise here for a few minutes. Let me move this away so it doesn't blow everywhere. Again, just a few minutes. I'm sure you guys have done this before, but you'll notice at the end it's just so pretty, and it kind of gives it that nice sheen that embroidered patches have. Ta-da! All right, I think it's almost ready. Beautiful. Okay, guys, isn't that beautiful? Let me see if I can show you up close, so to speak. I'm having to oh, there it is. So there is that beautiful shine of the patch. It might be a little more than what an embroidered patch or element has, but I love it. I think it's perfect, especially for a card. And you can still see those fine details of the kind of the quote-unquote threads. So what I would do from here is I would use the dies that come with the set. Of course, I bought the bundle, so it has the dies. Run it through, and then you will get your pieces. And I'll just bring them out here. And I stamped one of each piece, so one of each flower, and then I cut them all out. I say cut them out. I sent them through my die cutting machine, my awesome Amaze machine. And there's that. So all of these little pieces, and all of those are then used to create this beautiful bouquet. But before we create the bouquet, we have one piece left that we need to die cut, which is our largest circle from our Journey Circles. And I use the largest circle and the largest piercing element as well. It's one of my favorite things that we have with our dies is that awesome piercing element that goes with it. So I'm going to grab a piece of scrapped whipped cream. And I always, even though I know that we have our magnetic plate, I don't know if I'm just not very trusting. I don't know. I always like to use a little bit of tape to keep that in place, just because sometimes those magnets are a little tricky with our metal. So I'm going to kind of make sure it's centered. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and bring our machine over. I'm going to try to make sure I don't kill anything here in the process. And then we're going to run that through. You can kind of see half of my machine, right? All right, so we're going to run this guy through. And then basically that circle piece is going to be the base to where I adhere all of our flowers to create that beautiful bouquet. There we go. All right. He is done. Perfect. Okay, so that is the circle to my circle part of my sketch. So that's the bottom circle, I guess, the base circle. Okay, so we've got that. We've got all our flowers. We put together the card base. The next element that you'll might notice is I'm looking for the next square panel, so to speak, of my sketch, which, if you look in my card, is using one of our gorgeous embossing folders, and it is one of our benefits. So let me see if I can find it here in our catalog. It is our Brocade Elements or Brocade Imprints embossing folder. And again, it's one of those balloon benefits that you can get for just ordering $100. So $100 or more, and you can get this one for free. So I'm not sure if you've gotten it already or not. I actually just ordered this one the other day with the party that I had. So fun. It's beautiful. So I thought it would be a perfect way to add a little bit of a fun kind of a background to this beautiful flower. Just gives it a little bit more elegance to the card. And so I'm not going to show you how I did this, but I will bring out the beautiful embossing folder. The awesome thing about our Amaze machine and our Platinum is that it tells you the exact sandwich that you need to know on how to create, or excuse me, how to use it with embossing folders, or with a flat die, or with a steel roll die. So lots of options there. So this is the embossing folder again. It's the Brocade Imprints. It's gorgeous. And I brought out a panel of whipped cream that's 4.5 by 4.5. Ran it through, got the beautiful emboss. Y'all, and there's so many possibilities with these embossing folders. You can do letter printing. You can do use the embossed side, or you can use the debossed side. The letter printing is a really cool technique. You can come back over it with some pan pastels or some inks. There's so much you can do. For our purpose, we're just going to use it as a layer, and so this will be the second layer that goes right there on top of the beautiful gold stripes. We've got this, and really kind of the last element that we need to kind of put together is the happy birthday little panel here. And I use a 3.5 by 3.25, so 3.5 by 3.25 piece of our gold paper, which is probably one of my favorite. I think Kazan, you had mentioned it last, I think in the last, maybe it wasn't your last video. It was in one of your videos you mentioned how you love it. I love it too. The sentiment that I chose came from the stamp set called Cake Time. Beautiful. And I used Happy Birthday straight from there. And what I did with this one, because I wanted it to stand out of that gold, I embossed it with using our white embossing powder. I did also use my stamping tool for this, so I'll bring it in. And first, I want to make sure that it's even, and I hope my head is not going to get in the way, but I can't see, so here we go. That's right. I think I remember putting some tape on the back of this because I didn't leave enough room for my magnet. So I'm going to go ahead and just tape that to the bottom so it doesn't move on me. There we go. And the awesome thing about this paper, even though this isn't like washi tape, it actually, because of the, I don't know what you call it, the type of finish that it has, which is a nice like satiny kind of finish, that tape won't stick to it at all. Okay, so I'm going to, I think that's pretty centered. I'm going to have that there, and again I'm going to bring back my clear pigment ink. And I believe I did this 2 times, just because I want to make sure I got a nice solid print. I want that happy birthday to stand out. I'll do it one more time. Okay. All right, so I'm going to grab it carefully. Try not to touch that. Pull this off to the side. Bring back my handy dandy tray. But you know what I didn't do? I forgot to empty it. See? This is why I should empty it the first time, which is what I always do. If you'll ever watch any of my videos, I'm like, I'm so sorry, but I'm going to empty this real quick. This is why. This is why. There's a reason. There is a reason to my madness. Okay. Now I'm going to bring out the white. Carefully grab that. I don't want to smear it. And actually, I think I'm going to pour it as I'm holding on to it. So I'm using our white embossing powder. And I'm just going to gently pour some over it. And then gently tap off the excess. And you know what I didn't do, guys? I didn't do the non-stick and the pan pastel over it, so now I'm going to have to pay for that. Y'all know that trick, that technique, right? Where if you use some of our colorless blender, then you see all these little guys that are sticking to the paper that I'm going to have to come in here and kind of do this business with. If you use our colorless blender or any kind of a non-stick powder, I have a little pouch from years ago that's just full of, I don't remember if it was talc or some sort of a powder. And anyway, it helps for these little guys to not stick. Y'all should have said something. You probably did. I cannot read my comments right this minute because my phone is being used and my computer's over that way. Anyway, so learn from me. Make sure you use your colored blender or pan pastel first. I'm going to blow on this one more time. And then we're just going to call it good. Little white specks and all. Okay, so I'm going to bring out my gun. We are going to go ahead and heat set this little guy. It's really striking. I love the white against the golds. And it's getting close to my fingers, so I am going to switch it over to this side. There we go. All right, pretty. Okay, so basically I've got all of my pieces now. I've got everything that I need to put this card together. I've got my flowers over here. I've got my sentiment panel. I've got all of my base pieces here, plus my circle. And I've got a few other extra elements that I'm going to add to it once I'm done. But for right now, we're good. So I'm going to go ahead and bring out my circle, which is where I'm going to adhere all of my floral pieces together too. And then I'm going to go ahead and show you how I created the bouquet, because the bouquet is not exactly how I cut and pasted a few of the pieces together. So it's a little bit, you kind of do a little bit of piecing and cutting to kind of make it look like this. Okay, so the first thing I did is I actually used some of our white liner tape, and I adhered the stems to the backs of the flowers. And so this little guy, it's actually our biggest stem, I attached to our biggest bloom, and you can attach it however you want. I just liked the ease of our white liner tape for that. The awesome thing too about the white liner tape is if you needed it to stick later on, you could just peel it off and stick it on, but I actually use our foam squares for that. Okay, so we've got our big stem. This guy here, I actually take the leaf and I move it around because I wanted it a little bit placed a little bit differently than where it's at naturally. So I actually come and I snip this leaf right off, and I just try to kind of follow the way that the leaf shape goes, and I think I cut this little part off like that. So we've got this, and then we also have this little leaf, and I do cut off the white. Again, I just kind of follow the shape of the leaf as if it was you know, a separate die cut. Okay, so I've got this one. And then you might notice I've got this little guy here, and this little guy, I made him to be an offshoot of this rose. And I'm trying to remember, yeah, I think right where I have him. So basically about halfway down, I adhere him halfway down to that little piece. So he kind of becomes his own little, he kind of joins this little family here. So we can put him back together. There we go. Just like that. Again, about halfway through, and then again I did use some of our white liner here and just taped it down, and you might notice that I took the backing off. There we go. So you can't really see it, but it's sticking nicely to him. So this is a little offshoot like this one here. And then what else did I do? Oh, I've got to adhere the stem to the back of that bloom. Again with our white liner tape. And this guy goes right here, and I take him, again, I just stick him on. No big deal. I think I might have used craft glue for one of these, but I liked the fact that this was just stuck and done. I didn't have to worry about any drying time, even though our craft glue does work pretty quickly. Okay, and these other guys will come into play in a little bit, so let's go ahead and start adhering this down. So I use my main bloom as kind of the base. We start from here, and I think I might have taped him a little bit with leaning to the right as opposed to leaning to the left. Yeah, more in the center. There we go. And I used our large foam squares to get him down. Here they are. My large foam squares always run off on me. Always, always. So I used one, and I put him towards the bottom center. And he kind of just goes a little bit above that circle. I would say about like this, quite above actually, if I'm comparing my card. And then from there I layered on top. And so I used another large foam square for my small bloom here. And I always stick my leaves on afterwards just because I like, I think this guy goes underneath here. I'm going to move him up a little higher. There we go. Yep. And then my medium bloom again a little bit after. A little bit up and over here. He's kind of tilted. I did try to create make it seem like he's coming up from one. He covers a little bit over here. There is a little bit of wiggle room. Once you get those down, you're not necessarily stuck for life. If you want to change it up, you can. This lovely set, I did use our craft glue for because I wanted him to fit right underneath this little guy. Now, it is helpful, actually, when I was doing this on my own, to have my card base on there just to kind of have a little bit of an orientation as to where it's going to be, how it's going to look and where it's coming off. That's much better. That's helpful. Okay, so these little guys, I'm going to put a little bit of the craft glue just here on the bottom, and I'm going to glue him onto the white circle base, but behind the rose. So I'm going to kind of shimmy him under just a little bit. see if he goes there. I'm going to have him stick out a little bit. Press down. All right, there he is. Okay. This little guy, we're going to hide behind this bloom right here, and he's going to get a little bit of craft glue as well. Who else is a craft glue fan? I am. It's probably my favorite. So he's going to go right there. So he's going to basically he's going behind this little guy to make him pop out a little bit. And he's, again, just giving a little bit of interest. And then the flower or the leaf that I cut off, which I think is this one, is actually going to go up and behind here. So I'm going to put a little bit of craft glue on him as well. And he's going to go behind this little guy. Again, I put him there just trying to create a little bit of balance between my all of my flowers and leaf elements. Got a little bit of green here, a little bit of green here, and then my last bit of green will go here. And this is kind of when I would bring out my happy birthday sentiment and kind of make sure that I've kind of placed everything where I want. And I think that's kind of perfect because right here, that bow is going to come into place and it'll kind of cover up that area. So I think we're good to go. For the happy birthday panel, we're going to use a few more foam squares. I'm going to use one. I think I'm going to use two. I think on my original I used 3. Don't ask me why. I think I was just overzealous on my adhering. And we are going to try to get him nice and straight and just kind of evenly put him a little bit over the circle on the right and the left. Good. Okay, so we've got him. I know we haven't stuck this down and we're still kind of loosey-goosey here, but most of our flower bouquet elements are done. Woohoo! Okay, so let's go ahead and create the bow. Now, I'm sure you guys have seen, I don't know if it's Richard who would always make these bows. I'm sure it was him, and we were always like, what are you doing? But I will go ahead and show you how I create my bow, and it is a triple bow. This is not necessarily a bow tutorial, but if you can get it from here, great. If not, well, I'm sorry. You can always watch the replay. Okay, so I start with holding one end, a pretty good bit of one end on on my left hand, and I go over my pointer finger and under, and I think of a figure 8. And this is, by the way, our beautiful gold twine. So I'm doing a figure 8, one over my pointer finger, one over my thumb, and then I just keep going. And I actually don't want too big of a bow, so I'm going to go in a little, I'll do it again. So going over my forefinger, thumb, figure 8. So that was once, then this is going over twice, and then 3 times, so that creates our 3 loops. Then I'm going to get my middle finger and grab that, and I'm going to cut a big strand because it's probably more than I need. I'm going to be losing some, but I'd rather lose some and have enough to make a knot with than, mess up. So I've got this strand. Now from here, I'm going to come, this is where it can get a little tricky. I've got to go over all of my strands. So I'm going to come through here, grab it, and then I'm going to come through it again. Okay, so there's a loop here. In order for it to go well, or for it to tie a knot, I've got to go through it again. Okay, and then I'm going to pull it towards this direction, and that will create my knot. So I'm going to grab it away from my thumb, away from my pointer finger, and ladies and gentlemen, that is it. So if you didn't get that, then once I post this officially, you can kind of rewind and check it out. Okay, now if you want a larger knot, you can go back and tie a larger knot. I actually usually do tie a larger knot. I don't know why. I think I like the way a larger one looks. I like it to have a nice, obvious center. Granted, I am going to be covering this with a lovely gold element, but it is what it is. Okay, so from here, you can trim it. Oops, I pulled it. Don't pull your sides too much. Okay, from there, I'm going to that'll be the end, and I'm going to put that right here when I'm done. So let's go ahead and adhere all of our pieces together. So, of course, popping it out. When in doubt, pop it out. I'm not in doubt, but I'm popping it out because that's what I want. One on each quarter, one in the center. You guys know how you love to do it best. I think this is plenty. I think if you watch my videos, you know one of my biggest pet peeves is having to peel off the backings to that. It's irritating, but I digress. All right, he's in the middle. Then same for my circle. One in the middle, and I was going to say one on each corner. There's no corner, but one on the top, bottom, left, and right. Probably more than I need on that one, but it won't go anywhere. That's that. All right, and then he's going to go right in the center of the card as well. Da, 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 da. Now, I did this last time, and I realized that because my flower is so high, I couldn't tell if I was perfectly centered or not, so I kind of play around with it a little bit. Okay, good. No, not good. I made it crooked. Pay attention to your happy birthday sign. Happy birthday sign is going to tell you if you are straight or not, and I think that's close enough. All right, now I'm going to take some of our craft glue, and I am going to adhere this little bow with our craft glue. And actually, last time I fed these through the center here and out the middle, and then I adhered it because then I knew where it was going to go. So feed those through if they'll come out the other end. There they are. There we go. Then you can put the glue. And I adhered it right onto that main stem, that main rose stem. Put a good bit of glue so it doesn't go anywhere on you. There we go. Hold it down. Now I can kind of rearrange these little guys, and now I can trim them. And I'm going to use some of our Fashion Gold. I say some, one of our large Fashion Gold little dots. Make sure you grab the adhesive little sticky as well. I don't know how many times I've grabbed these guys, and the little sticky sticks to the plastic, and then I'm like, ah! All right, there we go, guys. Ta-da! All right, I'm going to shift the camera view. Hopefully it'll let me back this direction. I'm probably upside down, aren't I? Let's see. Yes, I am. Hi, Kazan. Sorry for the turning of the camera. Here I am. All right, so we did it. We did it. Let's go back upside down. I'm just looking at the camera view. I'm sorry, I'm upside down. So once again, this is sketch number 4. Oh, thank you, Julie. Thank you, Anthony. Sorry, I didn't see all of y'all's comments before. I'll have to go back. Thank you, Karen. So I'm going to go back through these. I'm looking at showing you this while I'm looking. Fingernails can be, yes, fingernails are definitely a blessing. Yes, brush golds. Yay. I use the tape too. Yes. We are old school, Kazan. Thanks for giving it a try, Wendy. Thank you so much for the comments. Hi, Patty. Hey, Karen. Hey, Jacqueline. Good to see you. Awesome. Hi, Rochelle. Okay, I'm going through any of these comments I might have missed because I could not see. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Love the love. Feeling the love, guys. I'm feeling it. Thank you, Kathy. Okay, so once again, flower, card, happy birthday, going to someone special who has a birthday coming up soon. Hope you loved it. Make sure you go to the Journey Sketches page. Again, this is not an FSJ mandated page. It's just a page that Kazan Clark and I created. Head on over there. Check out this. I'm about to post it. It'll be available there, and I'm looking forward to seeing your beautiful creations, okay? All right, guys. I think that's it for me today. Thanks so much for spending a little bit of your afternoon with me. I will see you this week and throughout as you guys participate. And I think that's it. All right. We'll see you later, guys. Bye.